the box courtside. It's been out several times during the week. Signing autographs. One of the greatest tennis players of all time, known as the Little Master, because he was only 5 feet 7.5 tall. And he was the tennis twin of the late, great Lou Howard, who died on the last day of Wimbledon this year.
And of course, a man who has figured prominently in a number of indoor finals here in Australia. Krajicek and Becker warming up in the hallway, about to make their entrance. First out will be Richard Krajicek. Blitzing performance yesterday by Krajicek. He may find it a little tougher today. Boris Becker coming back. He did drop as low as 14 or 15 earlier this year, back to 7 in the world, and a win today will certainly elevate him even more. That's into the top 5. He's really, J.A., eased into his week, hasn't he? He seemed to glide through the first couple of matches despite a somewhat roller coaster ride, particularly in his early matches against Sandon Stolly, who took the first set, and then Steve Bryan, when he inexplicably managed just one game in the second set. But since then, he's cruised along.
Yes, he seems to have gotten better almost with every match. The match with Sandon Stolly, Sandon played very, very well,
yeah.
And it really was a keenly contested match, 6-4 in the third. The second round against Steve Bryan, the American from Texas, Becker just lost concentration in the second set, grabbed it back and won the third set 6-love. Against Jonathan Stark, it was a big server against a big server, just one doing it better and having a more rounded game. And against Mark Woodford, I haven't seen him that keen since Wimbledon this year, where he got to the semi-finals, was beaten by Ivanisevic. He was a troubled man during Wimbledon, though. There was a lot of controversy over some of his tactics, both in receiving assistance when he left the court for a bathroom stop, and he was given assistance by his trainer, which was a blatant infraction of the rules, and also for his time wasting, and now he's leading the fight against the rule changes that are suggested for 1995.
Well, let's hope that that will be resolved as the final photographs are completed. The warm-up will commence.
But he is one of the great tennis players ever since he won Wimbledon. He's the youngest champion.
Yes, and what an imposing record he has. That was when he was just 17 years and 7 months old, the youngest ever. Currently ranked 7. He's won 41 career titles and has come back strongly in season 1994. His passage, as we have said, it's not always been easy, particularly in the opening 2 games. Sandon Stolly taking it right up to him before Becker won 6-4 in the third. Steve Bryan also, this was a real roller coaster, this one. Look at those last 2 sets, 1-6, 6-love. And then he defeated Jonathan Stark in straight sets, 7-6, 6-3. A tight contest in the first set against Woodford, went to a tie-break, but then he drew away in the second and advanced to the final with a 6-1 win. His opponent, though, will throw him plenty today, J.A.
Certainly will. Richard Krajicek, he's currently ranked 32. He has been ranked as high as 8. He's won 6 career titles this year on clay in Barcelona and Rosmalen on grass in Holland, semi-finals in Los Angeles, quarter-finalist at Hamburg in the German Open, and he reached the round of 16 at the Italian Open and in Indianapolis. To get to the final, he has been impressive, not losing a set. He beat Australia's Richard Fromberg in the first round, 7-6 and 6-3. Brett Stephen at the New Zealander, Tarango in the quarterfinals, and last night, magnificent against Patrick Rafter in straight sets.
And our umpire for this match is Rudy Berger. And so Boris Becker and Richard Krajicek set to meet for the first time and in a final. Your selection, J.O.?
Well, I think it's going to be close just through the nature of the players. They've both got huge serves, so you can imagine the great majority of games going with the server. But Boris would appear to be a more rounded player. He volleys a little better. He's a little bit more sure off the ground. He might, certainly on the backhand side, Krajicek has a magnificent forehand against Rafter last night. He played some extraordinary shots. But Krajicek is the young lion. He's on the up. And these are the types of scalps that he would dearly love to take. So it is Krajicek to serve in the first game.
And this, remember, of course, the final, the best of 5 sets.
Well, a very different start to last night when Richard Krajicek was so confident against Patrick Rafter. 3 aces in the first game, started the match with 2. Well, his confidence is picked up already. Not really at full pace, it's just 176 kilometres per hour, which is not full pace for Krajicek. That ball hitting right on the baseline, the ball skidding through just that much quicker, and Becker unable to make a shot at it. The length on this volley appeared a little slow getting in, but just great length. The ball really shooting off the line. Surface is reasonably abrasive, but the lines are painted on and just a little slicker. Risky business, serving wide to the forehand. Keeps the angle for Becker, who plays an extraordinary return. Break point, first game.
A big second ace for Richard Krajicek, getting him out of trouble for the moment.
Here is this most classic action. There are a lot of big servers in the game, but the Krajicek or stick probably have the most classic actions.
Behold. Now let's see what Boris Becker can do in his opening service game. Just easing into his workload with a 180 kilometres an hour serve.
Big lazy action, a lot of body, a lot of knee bend, back arch. He's got a slightly erratic ball toss, Boris. It starts moving around, sometimes leads to some erratic serving.
I think the one thing we can say is this match is not going to last 4 or 5 hours.
Well, not if the length at point has anything to do with it. last night. Krajicek really aggressive, not tempering anything.
Becker most impressive in holding serve and levelling at 1-all.
It's an aspect of Krajicek's game that really has improved. His ability to switch up the serve, that swinger out wide on the first court. He takes advantage of his height. 1.96 metres, 6 feet 5, a couple of inches taller than Boris, a couple of kilos heavier. Huge first serve and closing in very, very closely to the net for the first volley. And Krajicek having a second look at that, wondering whether it was really in. It appears to have landed on the line. 40-15, no damage. So often overlooked in Boris's game, people focus on his huge serve, but he has a magnificent backhand. He can come over the ball, hit it up the line or across court. The angle there, given to him by the excessive topspin, he is able to impart.
Too long. Boris Becker now to take up serve at 1-2. An excellent crowd in attendance here at the Sydney Entertainment Centre for this final.
And that's where Patrick Rafter got into trouble several times last night, volleying back to the forehand of Krajicek, and Krajicek coming up with the goods. Richard won't have an easier opportunity to pass Boris than this. A beautiful return. He got what he wanted, had all day to set up. Boris moved back, which was an unusual move once at the net. There's an example of the erratic ball tossing of Boris. The first one low and to the right of where he wanted, and then the second one getting high and left with an overcorrection. Both serves missing the mark by some margin.
Richard Krajicek will be hoping for some better luck today in this tournament. He was a semi-finalist in '92, but he was forced to forfeit that year to Goran Ivanisevic, the eventual winner. It was a surprising first-round exit last year.
As it turns out, he may have already been suffering this time last year from his knee problems.
He's finished up missing, what, 5 months?
A lot of people think that the prevalence of these knee injuries is from the players playing so much on harder surfaces. US Open went to a hard surface in '78, and therefore the surrounding tournaments did likewise. And in '88, the Australian Open went to a harder surface.
4 aces to Krajicek. Took just on 50 seconds. Becker to serve at 2-3. It'll be a case of who wins the battle of the big guns. Third ace to Becker.
The length on the backhand approach of Boris is centimetres inside the baseline. Krajicek went from having a two-handed backhand at a relatively young age, 12 or 13, to a single-hander. As did Stefan Edberg. But our own Paul McNamee went the other way. He went from having a one-hander to having a two-hander.
Just wide as Boris Becker holds serve to level at 3-all.
Just beside the line.
Krajicek questioning.
And don't forget, all the top golf coming away on 7. The Greg Norman Holden Classic this year, coming from one of the classic courses in the country at Royal Melbourne. But wherever you may be viewing, check your local guides for that 4-day contest. Here's Krajicek at 3-all.
Almost a dying art, lobbing against Richard Krajicek. That one nowhere near high enough. Chance of playing a successful lob is to really catch him off balance. This really is great tennis from the young Dutchman. Control on the low backhand volley and then fine touch, and Boris really chasing. Richard was halfway around the net post thinking that was an ace. Backed by Rudy Berger.
Not one of his quickest either, 175 kilometres an hour. So I'll do it again, 1 kilometre.
Hey, hasn't he?
Very sharp.
He was there on the court with Boris, not hitting with him. Like a lot of coaches would like to hear, but Nick himself is not a very good tennis player. But he has had extraordinary success as a coach. Contributed to all sorts of players' careers, from Monica Seles, Jimmy Arias, Arian Crickstein, Andre Agassi. And many of those players he had from a very young age, from 11, 12 or 13. Not so with Boris Becker. Boris came as the former world #1. You see him diving for the volley. And Nick is working his magic. It's quite interesting because he's not a overly technical person. He doesn't coach on how to hit forehands or backhands. He is a great believer in physical fitness and probably the best motivator in tennis.
Well, there's another ace to Boris Becker, his 4th. And Becker has been debating the issue of time between points. He took probably 8 or 9 seconds between each point there. It's 4-all.
Nick looks motivated, doesn't he? Very keen. Maybe he's on a percentage of the winnings.
Talk about percentage of winnings. The winner today, $150,000. You should stress that is 150,000 US dollars. Runner-up, 83,000, and of course valuable ATP points.
Magnificent touch.
The early honours were with Boris Becker. He had break point in the first game and was clearly hitting the ball well, but as the sets progressed, Richard Krajicek has grown in confidence and would be, I think, slightly favoured now to take out this first set.
Becker to serve at 4-5.
Remaining on the baseline after the second serve. Was this out of choice or weakness? Certainly opened the door for Richard Krajicek to take the net position and using all his height to cut off the cross-court pass. Rather an awkward situation. Boris hasn't been under pressure at all on serve. And now at love 34-5. See how the great champion reacts. Same mistake as Patrick Rafter made early last night. The volley into the Krajicek forehand, and forehand by Krajicek finding the space across court in dynamic fashion, achieved triple break point.
Thank you.
Becker saved one, but still 2 set points to Krajicek.
Boris Becker covering all the court and maybe a little bit more. The tennis serve looked to be going wide, but Boris taking no risks. That's probably the right thing to do. Entire court left open just to be have the ball scooped into it for the win. Still 1 set point.
Sign of a champion, down above 40. With his 5th ace, fights back to level at deuce. The customary lunge that we've come to know so well, again stands him in good stead.
Well, this tells you a few things. One is that Boris is here to play, and he is going to throw himself. He's going to do anything he can in his power to win. He really is keen, and with the intensity that he used to in the mid to late 80s.
And Becker holds serve. Marvelous fight back. He levels at 5-all.
Thank you.
Krajicek most of leading 6-5 with Boris Becker's serve to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stop your stimulus during play. Thank you.
Richard Krajicek asking Rudy Berger to make that announcement. Flash went off just as he was receiving. It's a thunderous serve. He might have just thought it was accompanying lightning. Just needs a little bit more time than Boris does to produce a passing shot. If he gets set up, the backhand is fine, but in that brushed circumstance, it didn't look like a real chance. 40 love.
Ace number 6 by Becker brings us to our first tie break for the day. Now, considering both serves, is there any one you'd favour in a tiebreaker situation, Joe?
Still favouring Boris, just a little.
1-0.
Notice Alan has jumped ship. He went with Boris before the match, but he's moved over into the Krajicek camp. There's very little in it, but this man has a world of experience to draw on.
Super shot there from Krajicek, J.A., and I've actually only jumped in as far as this first set is concerned. I just feel Krajicek at the end of this set is playing better than Boris.
And Alan, you're probably feeling more that way now after this beautiful angle past the diving Becker. Good little volley, that first one. Boris diving again on this hard surface. Something he learnt as a young soccer player.
2-1.
Krajicek with the advantage, 1 break point up, 2 points to 1 and serving. Krajicek moving to the net very, very quickly, and anything that isn't hit low is going to be dealt with most severely, as that was. 3-1.
So Boris Becker gets the set back on an even keel as the players make the quick change.
Maybe that's a little lack of education from Boris, not having played Krajicek before. Didn't really have a clue where that ball might be going. Yet it would have appeared throughout this tournament that Krajicek prefers to go down the line.
5-3, Krajicek.
set point saved. 2 more to face.
So Boris Becker hangs in there, but with Krajicek's serve to come, this is the moment of truth in this first set for Boris Becker. He takes the first set. Welcome back. Supporters leaving a little to the imagination as to who they're supporting. Boris Becker. Opening proceedings of the second set.
Just a little awkward on that low volley. Boris probably having a little bit of a rethink and wondering what he can do differently to turn this match around. Doesn't need to be turned around a great deal. Again, Boris passed with the backhand down the line. And it's just a little tight in the first game of the second set. Down well for a tall man. And again, the backhand down the line for Krajicek paying dividends. And Becker was more committed to covering it this time, but just not there early enough. Just leaving a fraction too much room there. Becker down break point. Safe play on the break point, following into the opening court. That juice. So Boris just can't believe that he didn't commit to the backhand down the line. Leaving a little bit too much room, and he only just managed to get the racket to the ball, not being able to do anything effective with the shot. And Krajicek really just having total control over the backhand down the line. Sort of shot Ken Rosal would be liking. He's here today watching the matches. Former runner-up here, 1978 to Jimmy Connors. Also a semi-finalist in 1973 to Rod Laver.
Rush of blood from Becker. Boris really struggling now. Second double fault.
Confidence a little shaken after losing the first set.
Interestingly enough, there has never been a 5-set final in the history of the indoor. Only 5 times has it gone to 4 sets. But a lethal weapon on the full run, just rifling it down the line. As Becker's confidence goes down, Krajicek soars. Seventh ace to Becker, along with 2 double faults. One of each in this game. Well, he cannot seal it.
Boris deciding to give Krajicek's backhand a rest, having been passed down the line by Krajicek's backhand several times, now passed up the line by the forehand. solid volley, and this time picking up the ball as it was struck across court.
Finally.
6 metres tall. He's removing quite beautifully and showing tremendous balance as well when he's going for these passing shots.
It's done courtside. Krajicek serving love 1, second set. Seven aces to Krajicek, 8 to Becker.
And now the game's not going so easily with the server. Low volley just being pushed wide, trying to do a bit too much with it. And it's Krajicek in a little trouble at 30 all.
He eventually holds serve. Levels at 1 all in the second. Don't forget, of course, we're talking about the Greg Norman Classic. We also have the Australian Open Championship. The national title on the line on 7 Sport. Coming to you this year from Royal Sydney. 4 fascinating days. Wherever you may be viewing, just check your local guides for details. Becker to serve, 1 all, second set.
Beautiful variety from Boris Becker. Ball was low. It would have been difficult to play a forcing shot, and would have been aware of how deep in the court his opponent was, so just played the short angle 15 low. Krajicek is making passing shots from all over the court, that time from about 3 metres behind the baseline. On the forehand, he was moving back. A deep forehand volley by Boris. 15 all. Well, Boris really telegraphed that angle drop volley, and Krajicek was on it in a flash. Let's see Richard's court movement. You could see he started running before you could hear the hit of the ball. A lapse in concentration from Boris. struggling to pick up the first volley, leaving the line open, and Krajicek has been deadly with his backhand down the line. Boris at deuce. Again, forced to deuce in the first game. And as he was in the opening game of this set, now down break point. Since the 10th game in the first set, where Boris was down love 40, he has had to fight every inch of the way.
Krajicek breaks.
Australia from Melbourne. So we have some contact here with the Dutchman.
Well, he'd be happy with him at the moment. Took the first set and now leads 2-1 with a break.
And when they were warming up this morning, Richard started off with some warming up exercises, jogging around the court, and good physical preparation before he actually hit any balls.
There is something we have not seen so far in this match. The first blemish on serve by Krajicek. 7 aces and 1 double fault.
And that serve appearing to be rather rushed, ball tossed low. It's always a big mental hurdle for a young player to jump over when it's against an established star. Those first big wins. And I just wonder whether Richard isn't just a little tense at this moment at the prospect of beating Boris. But chance.
He's thinking well ahead. You may have just joined us. This is a best of 5. All semis and quarters and earlier matches best of 3.
One of the hard things when you break early in a set, hang on to your serve for the rest of the time. Sometimes a little draining. Especially against such a great competitor as Boris Becker. When he gets down, he really starts to fight. A resourceful competitor. Some think a little too resourceful. That must have hurt. It was beautifully struck. It was a great return of serve. The half volley gave Becker the opportunity to make the pass. He was set. There's lots of time. He hit it well. It really pelted into the top of the net. Back at deuce.
Krajicek has the answer, though, for Boris Becker at the moment. He holds serve with ace number 10.
Well, for two huge servers, there's a lot of games being very keenly contested and quite a few rallies.
Yes, the match has been in progress just over 1 hour.
Boris is making the odd mental error. You see here, this is just should be Boris's point, and he just thought once or twice and then maybe came up with the wrong answer. 15. Now, continuing the trend, Boris having to really fight just to hang on to serve. Love 30. Big second serve, and Krajicek having a good long hard stare where the ball landed. I don't think he found where the ball landed because he was looking outside of the court. There's Becker's first serve percentage, still quite good considering how much is on the first ball at 65%, but not as good as his previous couple of matches. And certainly his winning percentage nowhere near it, because so often he's been at 100% success rate when the first ball has gone into play. Well, you could almost see Boris being a little bit casual there with that overhead. He was just a little easy about getting into position there. Wasn't any great hurry. As a result, not really being able to nail it with all that he might. And Krajicek faking to go and then staying and ripping the forehand back down the line. 2 break points. And we've got 15-40 on Boris. You've got to expect to lose at least one of those with a big serve. And Boris has been doing his homework and put the ball into the backhand of Krajicek and covered the line. And Richard's preference, score at deuce.
But now Krajicek has a sniff and he's going for absolutely everything.
Oh, look at this. Ripping it across court this time, and then the forehand up the line on the full run. He really is moving well. There's the forehand winners. 8 for Krajicek in the second set. I get the feeling now that Boris is down and looking a little vulnerable. The great majority of this crowd would love to see Boris fight back. I'm sure that's what he plans on doing. Boris was lucky that serve was long. Not by much.
Every service game now is a real struggle for Boris Becker.
On the full run, beautiful angle volley under real pressure. Had to make it a winner because of Krajicek's success off the forehand wing.
Through the line.
Rudy Berger just assuring Richard that the ball went through the line.
Coming through the line.
Becker holds serve. The Premier of New South Wales, Mr. John Fay, just accepting the cheese. He's going to be presenting the trophy to the winner and runner-up a little bit later on.
And Jeff Pollard, the president of Tennis Australia, in front.
Yep. Eight aces to Richard Krajicek. Becker produces a sizzling return. Can I ask you about mental toughness? J.A., has Krajicek got the mental toughness, do you believe, to hang on?
Well, I think this has been one of the question marks over Richard Krajicek's career. He's not always been the toughest competitor. Boris certainly has been, and I think the last game was a real statement by Boris Becker. Just a show of toughness, how hard I can fight. And you're going to have to do every bit and more to win. Krajicek under pressure on serve. Up the break in the second set. Can he hang on?
One wonders if the pressure is getting to him. The first serve that slammed into the bottom half of the net was timed at 203 kilometres an hour. The second, 148, he lost a point. So a point to break back for Boris Becker. Break back. Maybe he's saying something. To Richard Krajicek. It's 3-all in the second.
And that last missed volley of Krajicek's not a difficult shot at all. It really did appear to be a case of a little mental crumbling, fraying at the edges. 3-all, second set after an hour and 15 minutes of play. Boris really into the net very, very quickly, well inside the service line for the first volley. Looking keen.
Becker is starting to turn.
Here's for Richard Krajicek. He's led 3-1. He's lost the last 3, and he had rather a furrowed brow as he changed ends there. So a key game for his chances right here.
Alan, do you think that Richard has lost confidence to the point that you know, he's may not fight as hard as he might?
Well, I think, John, he was very worried about those 2 missed volleys in the last game. They weren't difficult shots, and that may have taken a little bit of his confidence away, which certainly was sky high.
Second double fault, Krajicek. This crowd hushed, sensing a Becker comeback here. Krajicek holds serve after that early double fault. His second set now back on an even keel.
And what Richard will argue here is that had he not heard the call, he would have made the shot. So Rudy Berger, in one fell swoop, has overruled the linesman. The ball had been called wide in, and he has also ruled that the call did not affect Richard Krajicek's ability to return. Satisfactory news for the Becker team there.
Really a reminder too that you play every ball, particularly when it is questionable and close. Becker leading 45th. And Becker hanging in this second set, Alan Stone.
A bit of a discussion there between Krajicek and Rudy Berger, also not helping his concentration, so he weathered the stall in his last service game, but needs to do it again here.
Well, you don't get to win 3 Wimbledons and runner-up twice. That being a great fighter, and Boris certainly is fighting all the way here in this final. Great sliding serve. Forced the score to 5-all. Like the first set, the second set heading towards tie-break territory.
9 aces to Krajicek, 2 double faults. 10 aces to Becker, and 2 double faults. Subject of tennis, well, all the top tennis coming away on 7. What a hot summer it's going to be. New South Wales Open and, of course, the Ford Australian Open.
Boris hitting what is not the easiest overhead. Most overhead you hit moving back, that one moving forward. Earlier part of this set, Boris was struggling every time at serve. It appears the tide has turned just a little. 40 love.
The coach of Richard Krajicek, Alan Gertz. Really did chop at that volley.
Yes, almost just over anxious, over keen, and overplayed it to some degree.
The fighting qualities of Becker really coming to the fore now.
What a great competitor he is, an opportunist, and that Richard makes the error on the first point, and then Boris at this point makes the best backhand pass so far this match. Love 30.
He now has 3 set points to level at a set all. One saved with ace number 10. That's the best way of getting out of strike. Pounding down aces at 192 kilometres an hour.
Krajicek chose to leave that, moving the ball was going long. Possibly mishit slightly by Boris, which might have contributed to that error in judgment. Set point for the fourth time. Now, this is absolutely extraordinary.
12th ace.
On 89 Ks.
That was the quickest to date, 204 kilometres an hour. Second serve ace.
And then when the pressure is on, with some errors in judgment, it appears. Boris thought that was wide, and if it hit the line, it only just got part of it.
And big serving. It's Krajicek out of trouble and forces the tiebreak.
Well, I guess Boris was finding out what it's like to fight against Boris. Live by the sword.
Die by the sword.
Thank you.
Opening points going against the server. And we've got a good angle on that return, and Krajicek trying to make the net position in order to cut the angle off. First point to be won by the server in the tiebreaker. Four games played leading up to the tiebreaker. 22 of them have been won by the server. In tennis, this would most likely be the most important tiebreaker in Richard Krajicek's career. Oh, a big point, this one. Solid backhand volley by Boris Becker. It's not giving Krajicek enough time to play his passing shot. Now it's Krajicek under pressure. 4 points to 5. No room to make error.
First serves holding Krajicek in good stead. Puts the pressure back now on Becker, who's serving to stay in the set.
Thank you.
Superb serve. Straight down the middle. Ace number 11.
Right on the centre line. Under good pressure.
Six all in the tiebreak. One more serve from Becker. This time it is he who takes advantage of a good first serve.
So there was room down the line then, and that's where the Krajicek backhand was going. Maybe just inhibited by the tension of the situation. And Boris believing that serve was long. Becker having a second look. The machine only works if the ball is within a certain distance of the line. Now Boris down set point again. To be down 2 sets to love.
Krajicek, he takes will be thinking, can their man come back? 2 sets to love now. We know his fighting qualities, but he's going to have to produce the ball now.
Voluntary, almost a studied smile there, wanting to show confidence in his player Boris Becker. He wanted to show anything that he was concerned. Master psychologist.
Match has been in progress just on an hour and 3/4 as we commence the 3rd set.
Pick up there by Richard Krajicek. It was a fine attempted pass by Becker. Krajicek's lengthy reach, cutting it off a fine angle. Playing with more confidence again.
The lob's got to be perfectly timed to get over that frame.
Good defensive volley, deep, well controlled. Bad lob for Krajicek there.
Ace number 15 for Richard Krajicek. The same number he served against Patrick Rafter. Now past him. Krajicek, the young man who's ranked 32 in the world, up against the number 7 and doing it well at the moment.
Well, I think we learned something about Richard Krajicek's character in that second set. Towards the end of it, it looked certain that Becker was going to win it. He had 4 set points, another one in the tiebreaker, and Krajicek just refused to be denied and is really back again as confident best.
Alan Stone courtside as Boris Becker pounds down his 12th ace. Pound, perhaps not quite the right word, 167 kilometres an hour. And a much better game for Boris Becker. He levels at 1-all.
Shows no signs of wilting. When he'd lost the first set, he really struggled early in the second.
Don't forget, of course, every Sunday morning around the country, join the Sports World team for the top sporting program in the land. Well, if Becker was impressive in his service game, Krajicek is heading down the same road. 17th ace. And he holds serve to love to lead 2-1 in the third set. Down 2 sets and 1-2 with his serve to come. Down, but by no means out. 13 aces. That's the 30th ace of this match.
In the points won at that statistic.
30-15.
While Boris might be slightly the better volleyer, I think Krajicek makes a fantastic effort at getting closer to the net, therefore having better position to volley from. And from court level, it was really a fluffed approach shot by Boris, which gave Krajicek the opportunity to pass. He's picking up some tough shots.
This is a great volley.
Ripping return by Krajicek. I was just picking it up off the court. We'll see it in replay here. Beautifully controlled. 2-all in the third set. Krajicek leading 2 sets to love.
Only his third double fault for the final.
Again, Boris really going for it. I mean, it's like he's got a chance to break.
Well, he's got 3 chances now. After Krajicek rushed that volley into the net. He gets the break in the third set. Boris Becker leads open for the first time in the match. qualify that by saying first time in the set because, of course, each were broken in the second.
Even though Boris is down 2 sets to love, he's certainly playing for appearing as if he believes that he's got an excellent chance of still winning. Hasn't flinched for a second. Oh, that second serve really way out of control. Ball toss not high enough, missing service line by quite some distance. His third double fault.
Boris Becker edges clear in the third set. Holding serve convincingly, leading 4 games to 2. Final here, best of 5 sets. But it would be a first for the tournament if this one went to 5 today. Dynamic tennis from Boris Becker, covering the court beautifully, chasing after everything. Beautiful control after running as hard as he could, and then this most athletic leap. Well, the big serve has been known to get Krajicek out of trouble. His 4th double fault brings up 2 points for a second break to Boris Becker. Just when you think it's safe, out comes ace number 19.
Just incredible. 20 aces. And that one at the most appropriate time. Boris just keeps coming back. A couple of aces on break points doesn't stop him from going for his shots.
And that's the break for Becker again.
Becker is winning this third set because he was so close to winning the second, so his game actually hadn't been all that bad.
Absolutely. Played at the highest standard. The one time he was broken last night, he conceded the break with a double fault against Rafter.
Three set points now for Becker to bring him back into this match after Krajicek took the first 2 sets.
And anticipating the serve down the centre. Working it back down the line. 40-15. And again, Becker doing well just to get his racket on the ball. Dangerous serving to the Krajicek forehand. Let's see where Boris will go this next point. 1 set point remaining.
Ace number 15 for Boris Becker, and he takes the 3rd set, 6 games to 2. Crowd a little restless, but there is no rest break here.